Welcome back to Naruto Shippuden Anime Review Part 3. This one discusses the entirety of the Luka Bridge, Takagi Bridge Reconnaissance mission arc, which covers in the anime episodes 33-53 and chapters 282-10. Yeah, not that long of an arc, even the manga either, both the manga and anime. It's only 21 episodes. I'm still planning on doing Seraphim. I think I'm going to do it next, by the way. Right after this video, I'm going to start watching it. Now, in this particular arc, we have debut of 3 characters plus 1 faction. The 3 characters are, first, we have Yamato, a guy who has the blood of the first Hokage in his veins because of an experiment Orochimaru did to him. They don't really delve much into this at all. Yeah, that's the strange thing with Yamato. It takes until a flashback arc for Kakashi that happened in this. Yeah, then the season team explore a little bit of Yamato's backstory. Then you have Sai, a character who was meant to be a carbon copy of Sasuke, a character who started out running people the wrong way, where he got beaten up by Sakura, just like Naruto Tensei do. And a character I really don't care for. A character known as Danzo. I referred to him as Danzo the Idiot because of how stupid this character is. It's so pig-headed, and the fact he thinks emotion is basically a weakness. Yeah, I don't like this character at all. He is my least favorite character in the entire series. I like the Akatsuki a lot more than he is. Because this character is not interesting. At all. And yet they devote so much time to this jerk. Oh yeah, and by the way, this guy's appearance is that he walks over with a sling. By the way, they actually reveal this is revealed not to the 5 Kage-san, what's actually under that particular sling. And oh boy, it's absolutely freaking disgusting. I will be discussing that when I get to the 5 Kage arc. Because that's when they finally get rid of this jerk. Also, he's got a bandage over his eye. In case you're curious though, what's under the eye? I'm not going to spoil that because, well, that'd be kind of dumb for me to do. I mean, I know what's under the eye. I've seen what's under the eye because I watched the actual series. And, like, how does he get the damn thing? That's what's actually there, what's there for his eye. That's not explained until a flashback. Oh yeah, and this guy's head of a hardline faction, aka the Foundation. In the sub, they've heard of as the Root. Yes, they are a sect of the Amu Black Ops. Now, normally the Amu Black Ops refer directly to Hokage personally, but this faction doesn't. Nope, they report directly to Danzo. These people are trained to be very emotionalist. Yes, and that's simply the whole point of this group. And a lot of the time, this group would do whatever the heck they want, even without the permission of the higher-ups. Yeah, I get the fact that these missions are supposed to be like off the books, but a lot of the time, basically, their missions are done via Danzo's whim. Yep. So, Danzo's first appearance in the anime, well, actually, believe it or not, actually happened at the end of the previous arc of the series. I wanted to save it here, also for first appearance of Sai, where basically he gives Sai his name. And, well, as for Sai's look, it's quite odd of a look, where he's got a short sleeve and long sleeve shirt that gives him a midriff, which I'm thinking that's odd for even for a guy. That's normally something you see for a woman, but a guy it's quite unusual. Black, of course, his outfit is like black and gray. He has the Lead Ninja headband, which, by the way, he actually still kind of wears his attire, even currently. Though currently he actually bothers to actually cover up his belly, because that was a thing. I think some women love seeing this look for Sai, because this was his look for a long time. Unlike some other characters who actually alter looks, Sai never did. Nope. He did alter his look slightly for Boruto when he got himself a longer sleeve, and in fact his shirt was longer. Oh yeah, he's also, believe it or not, the first person Out of all the let's say all the main Hidden Leaf Shinobi, the one who basically had John focus the series, he's the first one to carry us. He's the first one seen carrying a sword in the series. Well, he's one of two technically to do it. The other course being, of all people, Sasuke. Yeah, he makes his epic return in this arc, despite the fact he did show in the previous arc, though just a preview for episode 51. Yep. So they're going out information that Sorcery gave them back in the previous arc. So, Sai introduced him. Now, basically, at the start of this arc, basically they got to appoint a new member and a new leader. Well, Kakashi's in the hospital, so they gotta find someone else. So, Danzo selects Sai to replace Sasuke. To replace Kakashi, it's Captain Yamato. That's what Naruto refers to him as the whole time he's on screen. Yamato is basically there for almost the entirety of the series at this point. Yeah, I mean, his role gets dramatically reduced by the time the Fourth Ninja War starts. Yeah, when he's actually kidnapped, and then he's mostly forgotten about, except he was briefly rescued. Well, then he was put under what happened during the end of the series. He's actually appeared in Boruto for one episode. Yes, he did appear for one episode to keep an eye on Orochimaru. Yep. Also, fun fact about this arc, this is also the last time Naruto runs into Orochimaru for a long time. I mean, he does see him against the Fourth Ninja War. That's indeed true. So, they go to this place in the Land of Grass to meet up with Sorcery's spy. So, Sai introduced him to Naruto by attacking him and Shikamaru. But before this, Naruto runs a Team 8, and he doesn't recognize Shino at all because he's got a brand new code. He plays the cool sunglasses he had in Part 1 with these sunglass goggles. And Naruto doesn't instantly recognize him until he hears his voice. Even Kiba points this out, though. The reason why he doesn't recognize it is because you keep your face covered. Kiba, of course, stops wearing the coat he wears. Also, Akamaru, apparently in 2 years, has grown to be a big, huge dog. To the point where Kiba is now riding him instead of basically Akamaru being a puppy who gets to sit on Kiba's head. And then Naruto runs into Hinata. Yes, Hinata. And she got different coat, obviously. It has more purple in it, basically hinting at stuff. Yeah, basically purple is part of her, basically her look from this point forward. Even up until the film The Last, she still has purple in her look. Though her hair grew really long. Fun fact about this character, she's also the first character that I've heard voiced by Stephanie C., one of my personal voice actors. And this is one of two characters she's voiced where she's in a series, and they have a time skip, and post-time skip, the character grows their hair out really long. Yes, same thing happened in Bleach. Both Orihime and Hinata have this in common, aside from the fact same voice actor. They're both characters who have basically, during a series, have a time skip, and they grow out their hair really long that goes down to their butt. I am not kidding about that. That's how long Hinata's hair grows to. And she does kind of the similar thing. Where she sees Naruto, she's like hiding and she's like nervous around him. Because she's, well, got a thing for him. He's like, Hinata, what's wrong? And he gets really close. And then she just faints. And then she sees Naruto again and she faints again. And then, of course, well, he had to go meet up with Yamato. And, of course, well, teammates that meet Koronai. By the way, Koronai is not in this arc at all. Nope. She is nowhere to be seen. As a matter of fact, she doesn't show up in this particular series until, I kid you not, her first appearance is actually in the Akatsuki Suppression Mission arc. That's technically her first appearance in this series. I think she may show up in the 12th Ninja arc that comes after this one. So, meets them, and of course he's Ino and Choji. Choji himself basically looks like he's wearing armor now. His hair has grown a little bit longer, and he also still has the swirls on his cheeks. He also walks around more with his eyes closed now. Ino, of course, has show up a midriff, obviously. Her legs a little more exposed. And she's also stopped wearing her ninja headband. Yes, as far as I can tell, she's the first character to do this. And she's one of two. The only two I can think of who is Hinata, because by the time of the fourth Ninja War, she actually stops wearing her ninja headband, and she never puts on it ever again. She doesn't even put it on in the movie, the last. Shikamaru, his ninja headband is still on his arm. Yeah, it's still on his arm up until I'd say present day, even though he does alter his new look for Boruto, he still keeps Ninja Headband in his arm because he never wears it on his forehead. Choji's is still on his forehead, though it's a different color because originally was blue. And he used to basically like wrap around his head. This one's basically still wrapped around his head, but it's now red. Yes. Now, of course, they meet up with later with Captain Yamato, where he introduced himself. And of course, well, Naruto doesn't exactly have a big problem with Yamato as with Sai. Excuse me. So they go on their mission. They go to the land of grass, though they have to make a brief stop at a hot spring. Though there's a reason for that. But on the way, because well, Naruto steals arguing with Sai, and of course Sakura ended up punching him for insulting Sasuke. He's like, "Screw this!" Basically, if you three would not get along, I'll put you three in these cages. That's seriously what he wanted to do because he couldn't stand them arguing. I mean, I get Naruto and Sai, but Sakura? Really? Why put her in a cage for? I mean, she's not much hatred towards Sai at this point as Naruto does. So later on, they stop at a hot spring. Yep, we have Yamato, Sai, and Naruto share a bath together. Sakura's by herself. And of course, well, Sai has to make a stupid note about, oh yeah, you got balls. Really? You have to know that, Sai? Wow. Yeah, it's particularly kind of weird of why in the world he would do this. And as far as I can tell, he never does this with any other character in the series. So, Yamato gives himself out, though it's shown he actually plants a seat in Sai's clothes and his food. So he had basically buying him a gourmet feast at his own expense. Though how much he gets paid, he probably gets paid a good amount. So, after finishing up there, they go to the bridge where they detail the plan. Of course, well, Yamato transforms into sorcery, and of course, well, both Sakura and Naruto basically heard his voice in the previous arc, so at least you get a chance to hear the guy who voiced sorcery when he was in his puppet form one more time, because I think after this, next time you hear this voice, yeah, next time you hear the voice actually is in flashbacks. Flashbacks and a alternate reality in, I believe it was during arc in season 20. That's the only times I can think of you get a chance to hear Sasuke's puppet voice. Also, fun fact, I forgot to mention this. There's actually a short that takes place after one of the episodes. We actually see Sasuke get inside of his puppet. Yeah, where he actually looks like it's a lid. He opens up from the back. He gets inside, and that's that. That's one thing at least got cool about these post-credits shorts, is that they basically detail some stuff. Like, of course, Data refers to Kasumi as Kasumi, my man. Yes, he's the only character he does it to, probably because he has a lot of respect for Kasumi. Yeah, you gotta love these particular things. In the case of this one, there's nothing like that in this one. Basically discussing like the backstory of Sasuke in here. There is a little bit about Kabuto, though they get a little more deep into another episode. The thing about Kabuto is that he actually doesn't have backstory at all. Well, not before he was found anyways. I'll get to more in a minute. So, they basically meet up with the spy, who is actually Kabuto. And everyone's like, Kabuto? Apparently, he's put in a genjutsu 5 years prior. He does remember him. It turns out, nope. Orochimaru basically freed him of that jutsu long ago. And somehow points out, though, that sorcery was not really... This wasn't really sorcery. And then, of course, well, Orochimaru shows up. And it says, oh yeah, that's not sorcery. Well, it points out that he nearly kills him. And then, of course, once you let the three rats come out, and it's Naruto, Sai, and Sakura. Though Naruto once again does his old red eye thing, this time he does something really different. Something that was hinted at basically he was going to do in the previous arc, but luckily he was stopped by Kakashi. This time he goes to four-tail beast mode, this red evil mode where he basically beats the crap out of Orochimaru to the point where Orochimaru had basically like 4 bodies in order to basically stop him. And then Naruto, as his form, does the unthinkable. He actually hits Sakura. Something when he's informed about it later, he actually regrets doing. He does mention this also in the very next arc that he hit her, though he hates himself for doing it. Because it was unintentional. He never would actually intentionally hit Sakura at all. I mean, as far as I can tell, for women-wise, that's the only woman he's ever actually accidentally hit in the series. Because, as far as I know, he's never hit Hinata. He's never hit Ino or Tenten. Sakura's the only he actually unintentionally hit. And then, of course, mentioned by Jiraiya in a flashback that Naruto had hurt him when he was in this mode, luckily he was stopped, but created a big scar in his chest. Though he does mention that was the second time he came close, that the other time was when he was caught peeping. So Tsunade beat the crap out of him. Like, broke his ribs, broke one of his arms, just for peeping. Yes, for research. Yes. And of course Tsunade was basically blushing at that. The fact that she, well, it's hinted at of course it's hinted at prior to what happened with Jiraiya, prior to the Pain Arc, that she may have had feelings for Jiraiya, but it's never delved into. Probably because she was so focused on Don. Though Jiraiya always had things for Tsunade, but the thing is, she never really had feelings for him, though it's later implied prior to what happened to him that she may have developed feelings for him. Probably because of their closeness. And one thing you at least got to praise for Jiraiya, this 550, he is physically fit for a man his age. It's like, I get the fact he does a lot of wander around, and the fact he does some training, but my gosh, this guy is ripped. Yes, Jiraiya is ripped. Because he got himself a freaking 6-pack. Which, that is what Tsunade was blushing at, the fact he was staring at the fact he got a 6-pack. I'm surprised Suzune, who actually was not here, if she saw that, she would blush at it too. Because, like, that's kind of thing women, because they ever see a man's chest, like, they would blush at it, basically, like a physically built chest. That's why I've seen some anime where a woman sees a guy without a shirt on, they would blush at that. A guy would do the same thing for seeing a woman topless too. So, thing is suppressed. So Sakura heals. First, Sakura's healed by Kabuto, but he basically is taking too long to heal. But he does heal enough to basically seals the wound up, but it still bothers her. So she's able to heal up Naruto, not much of a problem. Though they're able to figure out that Sai, who was supposed to save Sakura from the collapsing bridge, decides not to, just ignore her, and meet up Orochimaru, give him an envelope that he was given by one of Don's subordinates. What's inside of it? Pictures and profiles of select members of the Anbu Black Ops. That's indeed true. Of course, once Tsunade finds about this, I'll get to that in a minute. So, he's brought back to the hideout, of course, to make copies of his corpse, to throw off the wood clone that Yamato can use. So, Sakura heals Naruto's wounds. And of course, they have to stop him from playing because, well, Sakura's injured. Though, Naruto basically is like nearly collapsing. He collapses nearly twice because of him being in the tail beast form for so long. So, Yamato informs Naruto that he was the one who actually hurt Sakura. And he figures out, though, that he was the one who hurt... Well, he is the one who also created the giant crater, too, and destroyed the bridge. It's implied he may have... He figures out later he's also one who... He also figures out he was one who hurt Jiraiya. So eventually they follow the wood clone, who was following Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Sai, back to the hideout, and this is where the new camera angles come and basically show... This is one of Orochimaru's mini hideouts in Atlantic grass. It's got a bit of swirls to it. Yes, the thing I gotta mention about these hideouts, like, okay, does Orochimaru hire people to build these places? He may have, unless of course he must know some Earth-style jutsu to make these well-designed hideouts. Oh, in case you're curious though, the hideout he used in part 1 of the series, basically in the original Naruto anime, yes, as far as I can tell after Sasuke work, he never used that hideout ever again. That's something kind of weird though, because I know that Naruto, Sakura, and Jiraiya visit the place in the anime original stuff, but as far as I can tell, he never used that hideout ever again. Never explained why, but according to Kabuto, the reason why that the Leaf Village have a tough time finding him because he keeps switching hideouts every other week. So that's pretty much the reason why that they have to got. That's the reason why this is one of his many hideouts he's got. So he gives Sai his over. Sai briefly runs into Sasuke, talks to him briefly. You don't see Sasuke's face. They keep it well shadowed. All you see is his Sharingan eyes. He does something briefly about Naruto and Sakura, and of course he doesn't much reacts to it. And then of course, well, Sakura finds his picture book, something he actually had when she saw back in the hot spring. Now, the thing is, she couldn't look inside, but this time she could. Looks inside of it, and it turns out that it's actually a story which wasn't finished. It turns out the middle portion of the book wasn't finished. Though later on it is finished thanks to Naruto team up with Sai, who turns out though that he tried to team up with them because of the whole thing with bonds. Yep. So, when Yamato finds out about the envelope, he keeps it. He gives it to Tsunade later, and of course she is upset by it. Also, there was this kind of stupid thing that something that Suzune basically. Well, I forgot to mention this when it comes to Suzune. At the start of this arc, she has something a bit unusual for her. I get the fact she's worried about Naruto, so she speaks briefly to the advisors about it, who give Tsunade the absolute worst advice I have ever heard of. Like, reduce Naruto, give him basically 0 missions, and make him as bored as possible. And Tsunade's like, no way, I'm not going with your suggestion. It's better to have me out in the field, being protected, than have me here, because she does mention what happened with the Hidden Sand Village. If someone who's the host of Tail Beast in the village might be attacked. Though it gets attacked later on. The Naruto's away from the village at that point. So they're like, fine. Of course, they wanted 2 other people to basically fill positions for Team Kakashi. They wanted to fill the quota with other people. So I was like, no, Naruto's staying, along with Sakura. And that's when they decided to appoint Sai from Danzo's group, and of course she appoints Danzo, not Danzo, Yamato. The advisors become a little more active seen in this series than they were in the original series. The thing with the advisors is that, yeah, they were shinobi for a long time, but they give the absolute worst advice. And worst times, basically, giving it. Because their advice they give makes absolutely no frickin' sense at all. It's no wonder why they're poorly written characters. I don't fault the anime for this, I fault Kishimoto for this. At least in the case of the elders of the Sand Village, at least they're respected. At least they're good advisors, at least they're good at their job. Not these 2 idiots. Nope, they're terrible at their job. Because they gave their Hokage advice. Yeah, it's later revealed. They gave the third Hokage some advice. Some really bad advice. That caused the Chia Clan massacre. Yes. A lot of fans easily pointed out, though, about this when the elders were questioning Naruto of why he appointed Mitsuki to have him come in the village, despite the fact he's son of Orochimaru. And all fans pointed out, though, the Hokage doesn't trust you 2 at all, because you 2, last time Hokage gave you two gave Hokage advice, a whole bunch of people were killed because of your stupid advice. Yeah. So, they're briefly seen at the start of the next arc, as I was watching the first episode before doing this review, and they discuss briefly about keeping Naruto in the village, but they can't do anything at all, because Tsunade would never agree to it. So, Naruto, Team Kakashi do confront Sasuke finally, and Naruto basically responds to everything that Sasuke said to him during our last meeting. And then he basically looks like he's about to kill Naruto, but look how he's stopped by Sai. And then, of course, he tries to. It looks like Sakura's about to attack Sasuke. Then he's blocked by Yamato. And it looked like that when Naruto's about to get up after being knocked down, his eyes about to turn red, and then he's basically looking, and he looks directly at Naruto. And then we see that Naruto's inside it. We see Naruto inside of his own body, and we see the nine-tailed fox creeping out of his cage. Why the heck it's like this? It's kind of hinted at later that Jiraiya basically loosened the seal himself because they said the loose seal was weakening. It turns out he's the one who did it, which I'm like, really? Why the heck would you do that for? Well, just to get more chakra. So basically, he's bubbling. Yeah, this actually. Now I get the fact that he is weakening. It was weakened because of Jiraiya. But why the heck Nine-Tailed Fox is bubbling like this, that is actually never fully explained. And then, of course, Sasuke shows up in the Mindscape, which, that's kind of weird. Even Naruto's like, what? How the heck did you get here? He's like, these eyes see everything. And then the Nine-Tailed Fox like, the Sharingan. Not the first time, basically, but seeing that. Yeah, that's, of course, according to Sasuke. And he says the last person that he saw with that Sharingan was Mandarin someone you're the spitting image of. And he's like, and of course, then he just crushes him. Doesn't kill him, per se. Just pushes him away. He's like, Mandarin who is that? And then he tells him, don't kill Naruto. Because if you do, you'll regret it. And he doesn't. He's basically, then he pretty much like gets out of the giant hole that was made basically based on an explosion caused by Sai of all people for this explosion. And then of course Orochimaru basically tells Kabuto and Orochimaru tell the group kill some more members of the Akatsuki. And of course Sasuke is informed about this. Is like if they kill members of the Akatsuki, that means you won't have any obstacles in killing your goal. Get to your goal. He's like, fine. And lets him live. So they all go back to Leaf Village. Kakashi's in the hospital. Still in the hospital. Of course, Yamato does inform Kakashi what happened. Actually, it's not Yamato. It's actually Jiraiya. Yamato informs Tsunade, and of course she gives him the envelope. And she is shocked to see what's inside the damn thing. And he reveals that Danza was the one who gave it to Sai as an offering to Orochimaru, possibly to invade the village. So she's like, Suzune, tighten security on the archives immediately. And then she's like, okay, fine. Yeah, because she's still kind of mad at her for tattling on the advisors. And well, tighten sealed. And of course, well, there's still more canon stuff with the next arc. Mostly it's the first like two or three episodes they're actually canon, and then the rest are all anime original. I did watch the first one, but I'll discuss more about that when I get the 12 Guard Ninja arc. In the case of this arc itself, it's really good. It does resolve one plot thread from the last arc, basically fighting Sasuke. At least they found him alive, and the fact he's only got 6 months until Orochimaru is ready to basically take his body. In the case of Sasuke and Orochimaru, disappear again until the Itachi Pursuit mission. Yes, they're absent for at least about 3 seasons of the show. Yeah, they'll season 6. That is the next time they actually appear in the series. Yep, season 6. So they're absent for 3 seasons before they come back in. But it's not like in the case of Savage. Right time. I mean, their next appearance not until like the past lane. It takes them quite some time to make a return to the series. Yeah. But all in all, really good arc. And I'm definitely looking forward to when I get a chance to do the 12 Guardian Ninja stuff. But I'll get to that right at the finish up Seraph for the end. Because at the finish up Seraph for the end, I'll do 12 Ninja. And then after 12 Ninja, I will reveal exactly what anime I do next. Because it's going to be an anime that everybody's like, really? You're going to do that anime? This weird, odd anime that's based on manga that's even just as weird too. Yeah, I got into it because well, one of the voice actors of that series is one of my favorites. Of course, Josh was in the series too. Okay? So yeah, that's it for single review. Stay tuned for my reviews for Seraph the End, which I probably will get a chance to do it today. Well, I'll watch the first episode, but then I'm also going to do I need to do reviews also for One Piece, My Hero, and Boruto. Okay? Do the next video. Bye.